Beginning. The prison that had no name. The prison did not have walls. That was the first thing Captain Saris Valen learned after 3 failed escape attempts and countless hours of quiet observation. No bars, no doors in the way humans understood them. Only distance, environment, and inevitability. The alien detention facility drifted in low orbit above a gas giant. Its structure spread across interconnected platforms separated by vacuum and lethal gravity wells. It was designed not to confine bodies, but to crush hope. Saris had been a tactical officer of the Lathran Coalition, a species known for precision, foresight, and calculated restraint. Their wars were fought with probabilities and simulations long before weapons were ever fired. If an escape had a success rate below 5%, it was deemed impossible. This one had a success rate of 0. That was why Saris had stopped planning. She sat on the edge of the habitation platform, watching the slow rotation of the stars, her restraints humming softly around her wrists. Around her, other prisoners moved through their routines, silent, obedient, broken into acceptance. Escape was impossible. Then the humans arrived. The unexpected prisoner. The new prisoner was brought in without ceremony. No public display. No announcement. Just a ripple of attention as the guards, tall, insectoid enforcers clad in energy mesh, escorted a single human into the containment zone. Saris noticed him immediately. Humans were rare in Coalition space, rarer still in this prison. They were considered volatile, too unpredictable for long-term containment. Their species lacked the refined probability models that governed most galactic civilizations. They acted on instinct, emotion, and something Saris's people struggled to quantify. The human looked unimpressive. Medium height, lean build, no visible augmentations. His dark hair was cropped short, his face marked with bruises that suggested resistance rather than surrender. He met Saris's gaze as he passed. Not with fear, with assessment. That alone unsettled her. He was placed in the adjacent habitation sector, separated by a translucent energy veil. Hours passed, then days. The human observed everything: guard patterns, energy fluctuations, prisoner movements. He spoke little, but when he did, it was always precise. Eventually, he spoke to her. "You've tried to leave," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Saris inclined her head slightly. 3 times. And failed. Yes. Why? She looked at him, studying his posture, his eyes. Because escape is impossible. The human smiled faintly. That's what they want you to think. Middle, different ways of seeing. His name was Elias Ward. A former human special operations soldier captured during a border skirmish that had gone catastrophically wrong. He didn't boast, didn't exaggerate. He simply stated facts, as if his past was a tool set rather than an identity. "You're analyzing this place wrong," Elias told her during one of their guarded conversations. "You're looking for doors." "There are none," Saris replied. Exactly. Her species valued foresight, not improvisation. Every plan was tested against thousands of outcomes. Elias's thinking defied that structure. "You don't escape by breaking the prison," he said. "You escape by breaking assumptions." Saris was skeptical. "The guards outnumber us. The platforms are isolated. The environment itself is lethal." "And yet," Elias replied, "they still feed us, still rotate guards, still move energy through predictable channels." She hesitated. Predictable, but only within narrow margins. "That's all we need." He began showing her things she had overlooked, not because she lacked intelligence, but because her training filtered them out. A half-second delay in the energy veil's phase cycle. Maintenance drones that followed the same route every 47 minutes. guards who relied on automated threat assessments rather than instinct. You see probabilities, Elias said. I see opportunities. Against her better judgment, Saris began to hope. Training without weapons. They trained in secret. Not physically, there was no space, no equipment, but mentally. Elias taught her how humans prepared for missions with incomplete information. How they adapted in real time, turning failures into data. What if this goes wrong? Saris asked during one planning session. Then we change the plan, Elias replied. But the success rate is irrelevant once we're moving. That concept alone was heretical. Still, she listened. Elias explained how humans condition themselves to operate under fear, how they compartmentalized pain, how they used momentum as a weapon. He didn't claim humans were stronger than other species, only that they refused to stop when logic said they should. Your people calculate when to quit, he said. Mine don't. Saris began to understand why humans frightened the assembly. The plan no one would approve. The plan Elias proposed was, by all coalition metrics, irrational. It relied on precise timing mixed with deliberate chaos. It involved using a maintenance drone as a moving shield, venting a section of the platform to force emergency protocols, and manually overriding a gravity tether while exposed to vacuum for several seconds. Those seconds will kill us, Saris said flatly. Not if we're fast enough. The margin for error is non-existent. Elias met her gaze. Then we don't make an error. Saris ran the numbers anyway. 0.01% survival probability. Impossible. She closed the simulation. When? She asked. Elias smiled, not triumphantly, but with quiet resolve. During the next gas giant storm, the sensors will be overwhelmed. You're certain? No, he admitted. But I'm ready. Saris looked around the prison. The endless orbit, the resigned prisoners, the silence that pressed in on the mind.
So was she.
The attempt the storm came like a living thing. Electromagnetic waves battered the station, alarms blaring as systems shifted to redundant modes. Guards tightened patrols, trusting their automated defenses more than ever. That was the opening. Elias moved first. He timed the maintenance drone's approach perfectly, leaping onto its chassis as it passed through the energy veil. Saris followed, her movements precise, her fear controlled but sharp. The drone's shield absorbed the first wave of detection pulses. Then Elias acted. He ripped open an access panel with brute force, rerouting power in a way no engineer would approve. The platform shuddered. Emergency lights flared. Now, he shouted. Saris triggered the vent. The air vanished. For a heartbeat, there was only silence and stars. They moved. Elias reached the gravity tether first, his hands locking onto the manual override as his body strained against the pull. Saris felt herself drifting, her training screaming that this was death. Elias didn't let go. With a final surge, the tether disengaged. They were thrown free. The pursuit escape did not mean safety. Interceptor drones launched from the prison's outer ring, weapons charging as they locked onto the two fleeing figures. Elias grabbed a thruster pack from the drone, strapping it onto Saris with practiced efficiency. Go, he ordered. I won't leave you, she said. He met her eyes. That's an order, Captain. She hesitated, then obeyed. As Saris accelerated toward the storm's cover, Elias turned back toward the drones, leading them away with erratic bursts and impossible angles. He moved like nothing she'd ever seen. Not graceful, relentless. At the last possible moment, he vanished into the electromagnetic chaos, rejoining her trajectory just as her thrusters faltered. They tumbled together, out of control, until a shadow loomed ahead. A human extraction vessel, flying far closer to the storm than any sane pilot would. They were pulled aboard seconds before the drones lost them completely. Ending, redefining impossible. Sarah stood in the medical bay of the human ship, her hands still trembling as the reality settled in. They had escaped. Against every model, every probability. Elias sat nearby, injuries being treated with quiet efficiency. He looked exhausted, but alive. "I was wrong," Saris said softly. He glanced up.
"About what?"
"About what is impossible." Elias smiled faintly. "Happens a lot." Later, when the coalition debriefed her, they asked how a prison with a perfect containment record had failed. Saris gave them the truth. "You built it to contain minds like ours," she said. "But you put a human inside." The report circulated for years, reshaping how prisons were designed, how humans were classified, how alliances were negotiated. As for Saris, she requested reassignment, not to strategy, but to join operations with humans. Because she had learned something no simulation could teach her. Impossible was not a fact. It was a belief. And humans had never believed in it.